Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of our entitled people. In today's episode, entitled neighbors think it's okay to have a cigarette and chat in a place that wakes up four other households at all hours of the day. The case of the missing flowers. Entitled parking. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Entitled neighbors think it's okay to have a cigarette and chat in a place that wakes up four other households at all hours of the day. I was previously here because of my neighbor who liked to think he could just come into my garden when he wanted. Well, he sold the properties behind us, and they have had a major refit. They've only just become habitable, and people have started moving in. A couple of nights ago, my boyfriend woke up telling somebody to shut up at 4:45 a.m. I had my earplugs and so didn't hear it originally, but eventually I could hear somebody talking outside. It was so close it sounded like it was in our garden. I looked out and found two people in their mini courtyard having a cigarette and chat at 4:45 a.m. Obviously, I was quite sleepy, so I asked them to just go inside as they had woken us up. Well, basically no. They had zero interest in being decent people. No apology for waking people up so early. In fact, their first reaction was to accuse me of shouting at them. I didn't. They then just shouted at us that if we didn't like it to shut the windows. It was at least 23 degrees that day and my house retains heat like IB*TCH, so my bedroom was about 40 degrees. When I explained our room was hot, they just proceeded to keep arguing. I gave up and walked off in the end. They went in about 5 minutes later. Since then, nothing. Until now. I have to be up at 6 a.m. It is currently midnight and I have been woken up by them, yet again, having a chat and a cigarette in the courtyard. Even with my earplugs in, I can hear them. I have shut the window as it thankfully isn't too hot, but I know if I asked them to go in, it would have descended into another argument. They know that being in the courtyard wakes us up, yet seem to not care. Thankfully, I should be moving in the next couple of months, so may only have to deal with the entitlement for a little while longer. I hope the people who take over this house are up all hours keeping them awake so they know how it feels. Human voices are surprisingly loud, even when you think you're speaking at a normal volume. Oh yeah, as someone super sensitive to noise, usually not an issue, I can just hear better than most. Human voices are some of the loudest disruptions. If I can clearly hear you from across the house in a severe thunderstorm, voices are loud. It's tornado season here, typical weather. Did you try joining in their conversation with your opinions as well? If it's that loud in the middle of the night, they can't possibly have any expectations of privacy. I'm usually very anti-petty solutions to teach other adults a lesson, but for some reason, I'm totally on board with this. And I'm a night owl who smokes. 2 words, fart spray. Works its magic indoors, but outside, it's not that effective. Motion-activated sprinkler. She said they were in their courtyard, so not on her property. If they are on their property and not being unreasonably loud, i.e. yelling, then they are within their rights to do what they are doing. Your desire to have a window open doesn't trump an occupant's right to use their own space. You even said you didn't notice it with your earplugs in. Maybe your boyfriend could use them? Just shine a million lumen spotlight on them till they go away. The case of the missing flowers. About 15 years ago, I worked in an urban adult education center. One spring morning, a few staff members and I were walking in when we realized all our flowers were missing. Yes, like many businesses, we had landscaping done during the springtime to make our place look as nice as it could. We had just had a number of floral bushes such as azaleas and forsythias, as well as tulips and daffodils, planted along the walkway from the parking lot to the main entrance. And they were all gone. At first, our confused brains all thought that some animals had destroyed them overnight. But a closer inspection showed us that couldn't have been the case. All the plants had been cleanly removed in their entirety. No animal could have done that. All of a sudden, my boss started to guffaw. Literally, this huge, unstoppable belly laugh came out. The laugh of a man who had finally witnessed just one crazy thing too many. Well, he finally managed to gasp out. I guess somebody just thought our flowers looked better in front of their house. It's been something like 15 years since this occurred, yet each springtime, it still pops into mind. A friend of mine is into gardening and plants a lot of bulbs every year. She had bought a large amount and organized them into piles in her garden in preparation for planting them. She went inside to get a glass of water, and through the window she can see an elderly lady walking into the garden with a bag and starting to fill it with her bulbs. She runs outside and confronts her. The lady claims that the bulbs were placed in a way that indicated that they were to be donated and free to grab, and huffs and puffs a lot when forced to return them. She could not understand why that was necessary. And then the same thing happened the year after, during my friend's yearly planting session. 3 years ago, someone stole all of the potted plants in ceramic pots off of my patio in the night before Mother's Day. I hope their mother was proud of them and enjoyed her gift. It was about $300 worth of stuff. Oh, and 2 propane tanks. What exactly they were doing with those, I have no clue. They needed gas for their grill. It's Mother's Day after all, got to cook for Mom. My dad was a landscaper for 30 years. He's had plants, trees, shrubs disappear after being planted, just to see them show up down the street or across town. My favorite is the one where they stole over 100 cement blocks that he had to special order in pink for the client. My mom worked for an office building in a very walkable area. They had nice planters in front of the doorway. Every time they put flowers in there, they'd disappear. Manager got fed up and put a sticker bush in there. It looked ugly, but at least it stayed more than a day. A community group here in Ireland put out hanging baskets in their village, and they were all stolen. The following year, the same thing happened. This time, they put a tracking device on one of the baskets and found them at a woman's house. Busted. Entitled parking. There is a car that has been parked in a no-park zone for a few weeks. Normally, I wouldn't care, but they are in front of a poop can for dogs. Whenever I go to throw my poop out, I have to shimmy and maneuver around the car. Kind of annoying. This week we got a ton of snow. The car has not moved even during the snow. Somebody cleaned the car off at some point. Well, getting to the poop can is near impossible now. I've just been avoiding using the poop can. I walked by today, and somebody threw a poop bag pretty dang full too, on the front of the car. Couldn't help but snicker. Update. The car does move at night, so they must work nights. They moved the car into a new no parking zone, but not in front of a poop can. Car blocking access to poop can for days on end, while you have an unlimited supply of fresh poop? The answers write themselves. It is now the poop car. Depending on local laws, you can have the car towed as abandoned. Are you sure it hasn't moved, or just they keep parking in the same spot? I once got a notice my car was going to be towed as abandoned even though I drove it to work every day. I had to explain I worked nights, which is why the car didn't move during the day. Well, have you tried using the poop knife to dig your way to the poop can to dispose of the poop bag? Incorrect utilization of the poop knife. Poop bags near the poop can definitely count as attempted on snow days. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we will see you in the next video.